record onto my computer.
Jason, could you give me recording permission? Is that something that's easily done? That's what it's asking me to do here. Please request recording permission from the meeting host.
If you request it from me, I guarantee I'll grant it.
Let me see. Okay. Well, I mean, I can't figure out how to do it. As long as you have it, just send me the link later.
Okay.
Post in Blue Rev.
All right, I will.
And hello, by the way.
Hello.
I'm very sick, so forgive my nasally coffee.
Sorry.
Voice right now. Yes.
Oh, that's great that you're on here anyway. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
And I won't make you talk too much.
I'll do what I can.
Yeah. So actually, do we? I love going around and just having people introduce themselves. So yeah, I lied. I can make you talk a little bit, tiny bit, but I'll say so you have to talk less. Dan McCool is not only the leader of Blue Revolution, which I want to for later when they see the recording, I want to give a shout out to the 38,778 members of Blue Rev. That's incredibly impressive, and you guys are awesome. So happy to be allied with you. You almost outnumber the 44,292 votes by which Pennsylvania fell to Trump. So if each one of you registers 2 voters, we win overwhelmingly. So
yes.
So Dan, go and Dan, besides being the leader of Blue Revolution, is our Field Team 6 field director for Pennsylvania, and that's amazing. Thank you. So go ahead.
Yes. So as Jason said, Blue Revolution is a group, Facebook group primarily of over 38,000, almost 39,000 people, and we raise money for candidates, and we get people energized about canvassing and texting and registering voters and all that kind of good stuff. So we're kind of like a mini, organization, like a mini Move On or something like that. We're just kind of a jack of all trades, and we've raised $185,000 for the eventual nominee so far, and we are going to be getting as many of our members as possible. They're from all over the country to sign up to register voters with clipboards with Field Team 6, and then closer to Election Day to try to knock on doors and get people out and raise money for all the Senate, Democratic Senate campaigns that are going to be up in those close Senate states and all the rest. So if you just look up Blue Revolution on Facebook, you will find the link there. Actually, I can just put it right here right now. So if you're not a member, you can go ahead and join and see what we do in there. But and might I say, Jason, your background is looking fantastic. What a great investment. It's absolutely badass logo. I'm liking it.
Like a total megalomaniac. And if I put my head right between the wings, it's the best.
And I'll just say that I've done one of these voter drives before in Philly. I'm going to be trying to do one of these a month from now until next October. And the first one was a great success. It was just me and a few other people, and we registered 70 people. And it was, mostly just myself there that week. It was kind of like the pilot week. But I'm assuming that we'll do even better next time. And it was a really cool experience. I felt amazing when I was driving back to Boston from Philly after that endeavor. So I'm excited to keep it going.
Awesome. So glad you're doing that. And Darcy, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yes. Yeah. Hi. I'm Darcy Dunn. I live in Manhattan, and I came to you through Markers for Democracy, and we're also pairing with Future Now, and I was a part of the Giving Circle, supporting candidates in Virginia. Legislative candidates in Virginia, so we're keeping our fingers crossed for the upcoming election. And my friend Amy, I think, was just a part of the last drive that you did last weekend, and she asked if I would like to come on November 16th, and I said absolutely. So I'm anxious to get the training. And the other thing is, I very deliberately do not have a Facebook account. I'm wondering if there's any other way to be in touch, like with Blue Revolution, or that has to be through Facebook.
Sure, Darcy. You can take my email address down, which is bluerevolution2020
Okay, great.
at Gmail. We're also on Twitter, and I'm looking to get a Reddit account up and going. But nice to be with another. I lived in Brooklyn for 12 years, and I taught at Baruch College.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, so nice to have another New Yorker here.
Yeah, it's nice to be a part of it. Thank you for. It's just nice that it's so inclusive, and we're all fighting the same fight, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely. And Darcy, I'm so glad you're coming in November, and that Markers for Democracy is part of this. You know, part of one of our men. You know, yeah, part of this coalition.
Nice, yeah.
Forming. It's terrific.
Mm-hmm.
And let's see, Lori, do you want to introduce yourself? Yeah, I can unmute you. There you go. Oh, love to hear where you are and if you're with any organization or not. If you can hear me. If you can't get your audio working, there's also, there's also the chat down below. There's a little word balloon at the bottom of the Zoom window. If you click that chat, you can type in stuff in the chat. So you have a voice. You have to ask anything or want to. Nope. Old shoulder from Lori Mendick. All right.
Oh, no.
Oh, hey. Oh, no, that's not her. All right. Well, Lori, if you can figure it out, pipe up at any opportunity. All right. So let me make sure she didn't just text me. Nope. Okay. Yeah. So thank you all for being on the official Flip in Pennsylvania Field Team 6 training call. And yeah, so I'm Jason Berlin with Field Team 6. You know that. And I was a TV writer for 18 years, and then Trump happened, and I needed to stop writing for Wipeout, an airplane repo, and get into the fight. So I volunteered with Swing Left for a year, went broker than usual, and then got a job with the California Democratic Party, and wound up with our, with the volunteers. We were able to rally. We were, between 70 and 100% women, depending on the day. Just to give credit where it's due, we were able to register over 6,000 progressive voters across the 5 swing districts of Southern California and help flip them all.
Wow.
And
Fantastic.
That was, it was, we weren't the only ones in that fight. There were a ton of us, and you were doing this all across the country. And thank God you were, because as instead of the 23 seats that we needed to get majority in the House, we got 40, almost double the most Democrats swept in during a midterm since just after Watergate, tellingly. And we made history. That was epic and huge and historic. And we need to not normalize that, just like we can't normalize the insane, horrible news coming out of this administration every day. So, we need to remember that we did save the world, because now we got to do it again, So after the midterms, we got 2 Lori Mendicks now. Hello, other Lori. You can say hello whenever you can. Oh, here in the chat, she wrote, "Hi, everyone. Hi, Darcy. I'm also part of Markers for Democracy." Hey, terrific. Awesome.
Hi, Lori.
That works.
Where is the chat? May I ask you? No, this is Darcy. I'm just looking for the chat so I can see her too. Is that
it's the
in the email you sent?
It's a word balloon icon at the very bottom of the screen.
I'm not having a word. All right, you know what? I'll just have to. You'll have to translate. I'm not getting that somehow.
Let's see.
On my phone.
If you go to view in the menu at the top of the screen and click on that. There should be something that says open chat.
Okay. Is this from when view like the screen from the email? Like I don't have a screen up regarding this call for some reason.
Oh.
Is that weird? It's all right. You know what? Let's just continue. I can know what I'll see her on Friday and ask her what she said.
All right. Good.
Okay.
She wrote mic not working. Okay. That's cool. Yeah. I'll read it out loud, whenever something pops up.
Thanks.
Absolutely.
Great.
So after the midterms, my job with the party ended because some people in the Democratic Party think that activism, like eggnog, should go away when the season is over. Yeah. That's insane. So we, decided to break that cycle, and found this organization, Field Team 6, with our stated goal: register Democrats to save the world, so that the 15,000 hours that we had spent registering voters and the weird, like quirky, super useful lessons we learned from doing that didn't just die with that gig, but kept on going. Mm-hmm. So bless you, Dan. So we started Field Team 6 with our vision being, by registering Democrats in targeted areas where they're needed most, we aim to grow the House majority, flip the Senate, and take the White House. So far, so good. We've been in the field again since this March. And since then, we have built 17 chapters across 6 states. And we are looking to be in 5 more if possible. Don't know if it is possible. I'm looking at the date on my computer right now. It's getting close to the end of the year, but by the end of the year, we're going to try to be in 5 states more. The 6 states we're in, and I'm going to just type this in the chat, because if you know any activists in any of these states or any of the states we want to be in, hook us up. And we follow up every lead. We're super sweet to everyone we talk to, and that is how we start chapters. It just takes 1 or 2 brave souls in each state to start a chapter. So 6 states we're in are California, Arizona, Maine, Pennsylvania, Colorado, and Florida. And 5 states we need to be in are Wisconsin, Michigan, Iowa, North Carolina, and Georgia. I don't need to look at reference materials to list those out, because it's all I think about. So it's like Arya Stark's list, Yeah. So we just last week registered our 14,000th voter. We registered 472 voters in 2 days in Phoenix. I think we had simultaneous voter drives in Tucson also, so those account for about 47, I think. That was amazing. So our volunteers, what's happening is, as word spreads in any given state like Arizona, we're getting more volunteers, and the volunteers who are doing this are leveling up. That's also crucial, because you do get better at this over time, for sure. So those are force multipliers, and when those things happen together, it's really it's a convincing argument. People see that and they see how fun and effective it is, and then they start leading their own drives, and it really spreads. I am going to take away that background because it's distracting me. So that brings us to Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania is incredibly important because, as you know, it fell to Trump by 44,292 votes. That's 0.72% of a point, not even 1 full point. So we can absolutely get Pennsylvania back, and we need to restore it to the blue firewall in 2020. and this could be the state that everything hinges on. It could be the state where we get rid of Trump. So yeah, amen to that. So
just in case people have not ever played around with the 270 to win map, I just put that in the chat. I do that all the time. It's like virtually impossible for us to win in 2020 without PA. So it's right. I put that there, 270towin.com if you play around with that.
Absolutely, that's absolutely true. Thank you for that link. And yes, Pennsylvania is responsible for 20 electoral votes. That's huge. And we got to take it back. For the White House, there is no Senate race in 2020 that we're concerned about in Pennsylvania, but also for House districts, to grow the House majority. Brian Fitzpatrick in the 1st district, just outside Philadelphia, is right. He's a Republican who is ripe for removal. And we're also targeting the 10th and 16th districts, a little further away from Philadelphia. And there are numerous legislative district battles also. So we definitely want to be sensitive to those and help people register as many voters as possible there too, to affect these smaller races that are very important and where just a few voters can have an outsized effect on the race. In Pennsylvania, we need 9 more seats in the state house for majority, and we need 3 more seats in the Senate to tie it, and the lieutenant governor, who's a Democrat, can break the tie. So those are achievable objectives also. That said, since the presidential race is, of course, statewide, really any Democrat we register anywhere in the state is golden. And that means we can go to a place like Philadelphia, major metropolitan center, with a ton of wonderful colleges to go to during the week and courthouses during the week. And on the weekend, lots of big events. And, and there's other targets we hit on the weekends that, because colleges and courthouses are not available. Can absolutely, as you know, go on the weekend and do good things then too. So yeah, that's our Pennsylvania targeting, and it's super exciting that all of you are going to Pennsylvania. I wish I lived closer. I have registered voters at Netroots Nation a few months ago in Philadelphia, and loved it. I love that city like crazy. Yeah, Dan and I had drinks in a place where Ben Franklin and Thomas Jefferson used to have dinner. Amazing city. It's in Center City. You should go there when you're there. But yes, so what we do in general is, Field Team 6 does hotspot voter registration or high traffic area voter registration. We don't knock on doors. Nothing against canvassing, super important. But for voter registration, high traffic area is the way to do it. It's the most effective thing to do. We go to a place with good foot traffic, and we're an anti-table organization. We don't sit at a table and wait for people to ask us to dance. We walk around with a clipboard and a smile, talk to everyone we can. And another thing that makes us so much more effective than so many other organizations is that we're a 527, not a 501c3. Well, what that means is 501c3s, most voter reg organizations are 501c3s. They're legally bound to be nonpartisan. We are not. So that has huge ramifications. We very deliberately chose our legal designation so that we could do what we have to do in the most effective way possible. So what that means is, though we are super respectful of everyone we talk to, no matter how Republican they are, we also, are proud of our values. And so we will, we wear our colors. Basically, we might wear a resist hat, might wear a liberal looking t-shirt. I have You know, I'm like a cartoon character. This is like just what I wear. I have very few choices in my life now. This is not that liberal looking yet because people don't know who we are yet. Give it a year. But until then, you know, you can wear a shirt with Obama on it, or the word Democrat, or Moms Demand Action, or, you know, anything similar to that. You can find super cheap liberal looking t-shirts if you don't have a ton like you probably all do on this call, on Amazon. But you know, we also sometimes have Trump, you know, with a line through it, pins. You know, I know Dan has some great versions of those, and what that does is give you a liberal force field, and most Republicans just don't walk up to you to begin with. In addition to that, what we say, we wear liberal looking stuff, we say liberal sounding stuff. So instead of "Are you registered to vote?" we're much more likely to say something like, "Excuse me, miss, can you help me save the world from Trump?" You know, and that gets a lot of you get a lot of information in a short amount of time. You know, it cuts to the chase. It shows people the stakes, and it turns people around. You know, so, and you can use, of course, variations on that. There's a million ways to start a conversation. So if any part of that doesn't sound like, you know, if you want to use a different line to start a conversation, you absolutely can, of course. But yeah, so that's in a nutshell, like, part of why we're so effective. So what our voter drives look like is something like this. You would go to show up at a base camp, just where we start out. It's usually a coffee shop. We try to start our events somewhere where there's good parking, coffee, and bathrooms, the three necessities for human life. Coffee, super important. It helps with extroversion, you know? If I drink enough coffee, I can't help but talk to people. Bathrooms go hand in hand with coffee. Got to take care of our people. And Dan's drinking some now. The tea, sorry. Okay. And every event starts with a training. So, you know, it's a shorter version of what I'm going to say on this call, you know. But we start every event with a training so that no prior experience is ever necessary, and you can just bring a friend at the last minute, you know, and they'll get all their questions answered. And then we will give you everything you need. We'll have clipboards and voter registration forms and hopefully some stickers. Not a deal breaker if you don't have them, but nice to have for sure. And, you know, the clipboards will also have a cheat sheet on the back, which is just kind of good talking points about the Democratic Party and Pennsylvania. It's like an informational security blanket for volunteers. You probably know all these talking points, but sometimes it's just nice to have it written out. For example, that we're targeting the 1st district, Brian Fitzpatrick, the Republican, trying to get Scott Perry, the Republican, out of the 10th district, and Mike Kelly out of the 16th, you know. Fun stuff like that. And lastly, a volunteer sign-up sheet, so that, you know, whoever we register, or whoever just walks up to us and says, "Hey, I'm registered already, but thank you so much for doing this. You're awesome. Hey, oh, thank you. And would you like to get one email a week with concrete, you know, events where you can make a concrete difference and fight Trump?" If they say yes, sign them up, and we build out our organization that way. That's huge. So yeah, we'll give you everything you need, you know, pens as well. Got to take 2. Always have a backup pen. And we'll send you to a hotspot nearby. So we try to, you know, locate our base camps not more than 15 minutes away from any hotspot, hopefully less. So it's super convenient. Sometimes it's right next to a hotspot. But yeah, generally we'll send you out in groups of 2 to 4. We'll never send anyone out alone unless they really insist. If you come alone, we'll pair you up with somebody. Whenever possible, we try to pair up newbies with seasoned pros. And yeah, if you come with a group of friends, we won't break you up. Our goal is for you to have a good time. If you do this right, it should be a good time. You know, that's another huge difference between the way we do it and the way other organizations do. You know, it's a huge public service, but that's an understatement. Really, you're empowering people, and if you're selling them on anything, it's their own voice. So we are turning voices into votes, and it's not just uh, it's not just effective. It's super therapeutic for us, for the people we register, and for the democracy. Um, yeah, it's too important not to try once, but it's too satisfying to not want to do it again, you know. And that's our goal, is to make it fun. So um, you know, we'll send you out to a hotspot. Normally these hotspots are colleges if they're available. If not, you know, if it's a weekend, um, it may be you know, farmer's market or a library or a transportation center, or you know, even you know, like a Sam's Club parking lot, Walmart Supercenter parking lot. Those can be great too. Um, or you know, a Latin market maybe, if we have any Spanish speakers who want to go there. And you'll go out there for about 2 hours, talk to, you know, as many people as you can, many people as you would like to, you know, and see who you can register, see what kind of good conversations you can have. And then you come back to base camp, give whoever's leading the voter drive your forms, and let them know, you know, how your conversations were, if your hotspot was amazing or horrible, so we can hone our strategy game over time. And you know, go home a conquering hero with high self-esteem for a week, you know. Yeah. Yeah, and we let everyone know, expectations wise, you know, this is, if you go out there and you don't, you know, maybe it's your first time doing this, or maybe your hotspot turns out to be a cold spot, and you don't register anybody for those 2 hours, but you talk to, say, 20 people walking by, and that's conservative. Like in 2 hours, it's going to be easy to talk to. A lot more than that, probably. But you just have like little micro conversations as they walk by. But maybe they say, "Oh, I'm registered. Hey, great. Got to get Trump out, please. April 28th is the primary." If you get out the facts that April 28th is a presidential primary, it's the most important election of our lives, and we got to get Trump out. Those things that counts as a canvas. You know, we go to these high foot traffic areas and basically let the canvas come to us. Canvassing is known as a super effective way to win elections because of the information you share and the human connections you make. And that's exactly what we're doing out there. So this totally counts. Yeah, so you just did a canvassing shift. If you registered nobody, that's absolutely valid. If you register 1 or 2 people in your shift, that's what most state parties ask of their paid people. So really good. 3 or 4 people is super respectable, and if you register 5 or more, you're a monster. That's huge. So we let people know, and that's a huge part of it, is putting it in context, so people don't come back and say, I only got 7, I feel like a jerk. Like, oh no, that's amazing, that's huge. You know, like every person you register, also remember, it's not only are you doubling your voting power every time you register someone, you're voting with the strength of 2. You're not just registering a vote, you're registering a voter who will potentially vote up and down the ballot for the rest of their lives. So you're possibly affecting hundreds of races every single person you register. It's a huge thing. Yeah, people need to be lifted up for this amazing work, and that's what we try to do always. So yeah, so that brings us to like the nitty gritty of how we get people to talk to a human being holding a clipboard. You know, that's the trick. Any questions so far, by the way?
Nope. I'm curious about the nitty gritty.
Yeah, this is the fun part. So, you know, I've had people notice me out of the corner of their eye and literally sprint away. You know, fortunately, it doesn't happen a lot, you know, but yeah, certain things can make it easier to start a conversation. And, you know, one of them is, body language. If you're relaxed and having a good time, people do read your energy, and it's much more likely that they'll start a conversation or, respond to you, have a conversation with you, as opposed to like hiding behind your clipboard nervously. Eye contact is great. If you don't have to wear sunglasses, it's better if you can make eye contact so that they kind of have to break your heart to just walk on by and ignore you. Walking a few steps alongside someone, if they're walking, can also help. Walking backwards a couple steps just to slightly lengthen the window of interaction, just by a second or two. I never block someone's path. That's creepy. I don't always succeed, but I try not to be creepy. I never, thrust the clipboard into their hands. That's creepy. Don't do that. When people see a clipboard, they assume something salesy is going to happen. So I try to be the opposite of salesy. Sometimes I even experiment with how quietly I can talk, just to be real. Like that, and that really is the only way that we galvanize our own people or bring other people, open-minded independents, over to our side, is just by having a real conversation. That's all activism is. That's all organizing is, in general, is just talking to strangers. That's the whole thing. Whether it's postcarding, texting, phone banking, or the most effective, which is the in-person voter contact like this, it's just talking to strangers. And it's ancient and the most effective of all. That changed my life, realizing that I could channel all my Trump rage into just positive conversations with strangers. That's amazing, and make a difference. So yeah, that's what we're trying to do. And that's why, I'm going to give some suggestions about how to start the conversation with people, different possibilities for, just icebreakers, basically. But always make it your own. Use your own words. If they're your own words, they're going to be more effective because it'll be more real. The first 5 or 10 people you talk to, you'll be nervous and you'll be thinking, or at least I was, just thinking things like, do I say good morning? I never say good morning. It sounds weird, like you might have to experiment to figure out what's just most natural feeling for you. That's totally normal. And yeah, so probably the worst way to start a conversation is, are you registered to vote? It's the most passive, sounds kind of boring, time consuming. Are you registered to vote? It's easy to say, yeah, whatever, someone to walk by. More effective than that is, can I register you to vote? It's more proactive, and you'll see, like Mark Twain said, the difference between the right and the wrong word is the difference between lightning and a lightning bug. It's so good. He's so good. America's first stand-up, by the way. But yeah, so can I register you to vote is good. Can I register you as a Democrat today? Also great. And there you're throwing in an IDing element, which is helpful. And that's one of the things that we want to do. We want to start a conversation, and we also want to identify people as some form of our friend, and what we're wearing a resist hat or liberal looking t-shirt, that does half the job, but the other half is in what we're saying. So definitely have to use both if possible. So yeah, even better than that, excuse me, miss, can you help me save the world from Trump? That, what? That really gets people's attention. And you can use variations of that. My favorite right now is, excuse me, miss, can I register you to vote? Just trying to get rid of Trump, one voter at a time. That's a few more words, but it works. It shows people the stakes also, right now, at this moment in history, there are so many people who are rightfully, like we are, just in a constant state of outrage because of this, garbage nightmare in the White House, you know, who every day is doing some other horrendous, disgusting thing. So it's super effective right now at this point in history to harness that, and fill our pockets with Democrats, you know, by mentioning his name, as painful as it is to say out loud, you know. um, we're harnessing that to beat him. So yeah, any way you can help me give it to Trump, you know, registering Democrats to vote, anything like that, great. You can also, of course, it's a little less effective overall, but you know, you can also approach people with, on the issues. You know, you can say, excuse me, miss, can you help me fight for civil rights today? Or excuse me, sir, can you help me save the environment today? Or help me fight for health care, or you know, any of those issues. And if they're interested, oh, terrific, I'm just registering Democrats to vote. Are you a citizen? And notice, by the way, I go right into, are you a citizen? The first question. The more seamlessly you can do that, it's kind of an advanced skill that I'm working on, but the more seamlessly you can do that, the more people you will register. You deny them that little pause where they say, I'm going to play a video game. See you later. You know, go right into that. Are you a citizen? Do you? It says in the chat, Lori's asking, do you encounter hostile Trump voters and how do you handle them? That's a very good question. Yes, we talk to thousands of Republicans, and most common reaction from Republicans is, and that's it. Just, you know, they might harumph or say nothing and walk by. Sometimes people will say, oh, you know, I actually voted for the guy. And, you know, I say, hey, that's great. Have a great day, man. Respect, you know, something like that. And it's amazing how quickly respect diffuses a situation. We're respectful to everybody. You know, we consider it part of our mission, you know, to be the antidote to the demonization that's going on. And we're out there as humans, just speaking to other human beings. And it's a humanizing effect that has on the dialogue, especially because we're so respectful to everyone, no matter what. You know, we're not out there to start any arguments. And so, yeah, because you're a human being standing in front of them, and it's not nearly as easy to be nasty to you as it is on Facebook. It's fairly rare to get someone who's like, you know, gonna yell or something. You know, if you find, like, you might on kind of rare occasion find a loudmouth who's like, hey, Trump 2020 mega, you know, and like that's kind of, and they walk away like yelling that, you know, maybe that might be, that's something that's, you know, fairly rare. That's like kind of the you know, most dramatic level it might rise to every once in a long while. But yeah, it's usually pretty non-dramatic. And what does happen is, you know, kind of no matter what you say, the first 2 to 20 people will ignore you. But then there will always be that 21st person who, when you say, excuse me, miss, you know, can you help me save the world from Trump? She'll spin on her heel and say, oh my God, give me that. I need to sign that. I don't care what it is. Thank God you're here. I'm going nuts with this dude. He's like, well, he's trying to be a king. And then you have a conversation and make a real connection. And, you know, hopefully you register her on the spot as a Democrat. But even if she's already registered, she walks away knowing that the primary is April 28th, and that, and more importantly, that it's okay to say the word Democrat out loud in Pennsylvania and be a Democrat in public. And it's okay to not be racist or sexist. You know, it's even okay to believe in science. You know, that's part of why we're out there, just to let people know. And that's part of why we wear our liberal looking stuff, is like, every time you use your voice, you make it easier for someone else to speak up. Yeah, so that visibility is just really good too. Other good reasons to register someone: they've moved since they last voted, of course. They want to change parties. That happens. Maybe they changed their name due to marriage. Or you know, it might be a young person who says, yeah, I think I'm registered to vote. Oh, hey, let's make sure. It takes 2 minutes. Just do it right now. Get you all set. The most important election of our lives is coming up. You know, are you a citizen? Go right into that. See, I paused. I shouldn't have paused. But are you a citizen? Should go right at the end of that. Lori says.
So if someone says they think that they're registered to vote, but they're not sure, just to have them register, right? We don't have to check a database or something like that. Just say, let's just make sure you are, and put in a registration form.
Exactly. It
Is that
cannot
correct? Okay.
to re-register them. It can only help because the way we register them, we're going to get a good data set from them. We're going to try to get their phone number and email, and we'll probably do a more thorough job than whoever did it last time, even if it was them. So yeah, I'd always err on the side of registering them again.
Okay, great.
Yeah, good question. And Lori writes, am I correct in assuming that in Pennsylvania you can register as a Democrat? You absolutely can and should. So I'm going to go to the, let me just, before I go to the form, just one more thing about ID. You know, it's so important to ID people up front, you know, whether they don't have to be, you know, a flaming liberal, but if they're anywhere from an independent who hates Trump to Che Guevara, they're on our scale, on our you know, we want them. They're on that spectrum that we're trying to register. So if, you know, and this does happen, you read the room. Sometimes if there's an older white guy approaching, you know, if he has a MAGA hat and a camouflage jacket, I'm not going to say anything to him, by the way. You know, you don't have to talk to everyone. That's one good thing about this. No one's going to complain that the person with the clipboard did not speak to them, you know? So
Right.
if you don't want to talk to someone, don't. That's fine. And always go at your own pace. You know, and it comes naturally. It gets easier over time, and you get more relaxed, and it gets more fun, and that makes you more effective when you're having fun. So it's kind of a virtuous cycle. But yes, let's say there's an older, you know, white guy approaching. He's not wearing a MAGA hat, you know, and so I might say, "Oh, good morning. I bet you're registered to vote already, you know, or something." And he's like, "Yeah, no, actually, no, I'd love to register to vote." Okay, great, you know. That's great, but I haven't ID'd him yet, and I'm a little wary because of his demographic, you know? So as I sidle up to him with the clipboard, I might say, that is so great, because, you know, it's just so important. We beat Trump in 2020. And, just, you know, just throw out one last, you know, chance for him to say, oh, what? No, I love Trump. Are you kidding? And then, oh, hey, great, man, have a great day, you know, respect. And I'm waving at that point, not because I'm dismissing him, but because in real life, he's always walking away at that point, like without fail. He walks away. Of course, if he, this never happens again, but if he stood there and said, but I'd love to register with you just to torture you right now, you know, then, or something, then what we do is give him, we stay positive, of course, and just, you know, give him a form. So here you go. Let me hold it so it's not blown out. There we go. Just give him a form and say, here you go, and, you know, just fill this out and sign it, and, you know, put that in the mail, and you're good. And that is our legal duty, to give anyone a form who asks. And it's also just polite, you know, but it's not our legal obligation to help them fill it out or mail it in, nor should we, because, you know, our time is precious. We got to be out there registering Democrats, saving the world. You know, so yeah. So once you have someone interested for any of those reasons that we talked about, I always fill out the form myself, and I strongly recommend you do too. It will be, yeah, Dan's nodding. It will be faster, more legible, and you'll hit all the fields that you need to hit. And they usually won't, because they're in a hurry, you know? So once we've done this, we're going to go over it right now. You'll be an expert in the form, and, you know, or at least an expert compared to someone who's never seen it before. And then once you've actually filled it out 2 or 3 times, you really are an expert, and it goes super fast. So I'm going to share my screen so we can all see the form. And I think, can everyone see the screen right now? Darcy, can you see the screen?
I can't see your screen, but I have the form up. I guess I should have done this on a laptop, but I did it on my phone. So I have it up on my computer.
Oh, you're fine. If you have it up, you're fine.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, we can see the screen now, Jason.
Great, okay, cool. So I'm going to scroll down. There's this front page that has a lot of interesting information that I just got sucked into now because it's fascinating. But we don't need that right now. And on the back, so yeah, there's a top page like on top of the voter registration form, and you pull that off. Basically, it's the husk, and the voter form that you fill out is underneath that. And there's some good important information on that husk in the top page, including the addresses of all the county voter registration offices in the state. That's useful. You can save that and give it to a voter after you register them. You know, if you want to do a really, really thorough A+ job, it's not legally mandated or strictly necessary, but you know, it's a nice thing to do if you can. And then underneath, Pennsylvania voter registration application in its glory. And here's what it looks like, wide shot. And it's just this one page and possibly a little on the back if you need it, but it's mainly that first page. So I'm going to zoom in on that and we'll go over it field by field quickly. So I would start with number 2, not number 1, because number 2 is potentially disqualifying. So yeah, that first question always should be, terrific. Whatever it's, you know, whatever they're responding to, or they're showing a little opening. Hey, great. Are you a citizen? And if the answer is anything other than yes, do not register them. In other words, if they're a green card holder or resident, we can't register them. It can actually derail the naturalization process, which is a nightmare. So make sure that answer is yes and check that. And then will you be 18 years or older by election day? And that is November 3rd, 2020, the general election. If yes, great. Check that and we're off to the races. So then I'd go up back to the top and get their last name, then their first name, and their middle name or initial. If there's a question of which they should use, it's best to match their ID if they, you know, whatever's on their ID. Below that, the reason they're registering. If they're not sure if they're registered already, you can check new registration. If it's a change of name, check that. Change of address, check that. Change of party, check that. And then there's this last super complicated one that you'll never ever use. Don't worry about that. Number 4, birth date, necessary. Sex, male or female, is optional, as is the race. Phone number and email are optional, but we treat them like they're mandatory because, first of all, the recorder, you know, city election official, may need those if there's any information that's missing or illegible. And secondly, also very important, those fuel our get out the vote efforts. You know, the phone banks are fueled by these phone numbers and emails we also need. So try to get them all the time. Usually people don't give you a problem with those. Below that.
So we need the birth date and we need the phone and the email, but if they don't want to give you a sex or a race, just leave those blank.
Yeah, I usually skip those.
Okay.
Yeah.
You just skip them entirely anyway?
Yeah, I do.
Okay. Yeah, makes sense.
Sometimes they volunteer, you know, race, you know, one guy did that. So
okay. So you write it in, yeah.
Yeah, birth date is necessary though. That's not optional. That's necessary. Mm-hmm. Yes, and always try to get phone and email. If they won't give them to you, it's not a deal breaker, you know, but just we always try.
Okay.
Below that, address needs to be a physical address. not a PO box. It can be a homeless shelter or a women's shelter. And I always ask any apartment number, because sometimes people forget to volunteer that, and especially if they're going to, possibly register to vote by mail, which is another step later on that we don't really deal with right now, at least. That'll be very important. So any apartment number, get their city, get their zip code, very important. We use that to determine what congressional district they're from. And municipality, if they know it. If they don't, we can look it up. That's a Pennsylvania specific quirk, and county, it is Philadelphia County, right? In Philadelphia anyway. If they are experiencing homelessness, you can check this box. I do not have a street address or permanent residence. And then that's where I'll scroll down here. It's on the back side of that page. You can draw a map. At the very bottom, it says instructions for section 5. You write the names of the cross streets, write down any landmarks and put an X on the corner where they live or where they stay. If they don't stay at the same place all the time, you can just write the cross streets where you're registering them. That's also okay. And the point of that is it gets them registered to vote, and they'll be able to cast a provisional ballot at least, even if they're not in the right precinct, better than nothing. Then back up to, okay, so we're at 5. Number 6, is that where you get your mail? I ask. If they usually say yes, then you just check same as above. If not, in other words, if their mailing address is different than their physical address, then you can, put in their mailing address here. And if they have a PO box, that's where that would go. Below that, very important, identification. So they ask for Pennsylvania driver's license or Penn.ID card. That's the state ID number. You can use that or the last 4 digits of their social security number. You don't need both. It can't hurt to get both. Sometimes I get both just to be safe, but really you just need one or the other. And sometimes if people don't, say they don't have their license with them, and maybe it's a young person who doesn't remember the last 4 of their social, one good trick is I save them some, I say, is there anyone who might know the last 4 of your social? I save them some pride by not mentioning the word mom, but sometimes they can text their mom and get it while you're filling out the rest of the form. If they don't have either one of those, if they haven't been issued either one of those, then they can check that box below. I do not have Pennsylvania driver's license or state ID card or social security number. If more likely they have been issued one or the other or both, but just don't remember either one or have either one on them, don't despair. Do not check that box below, but do continue to fill out the rest of the form, and we will, whoever's leading the voter drive will reach out to them, 1 to 3 times, and chances are fairly low that we get in contact with them. But there are some who we do get there, get in contact with them, and they're able to provide us with one or the other of these, and that's the best. That really, means they'll have a good chance of they will be registered with one or the other of those. If not, we can't get in touch with them eventually. We do send it in and roll the dice. Hopefully that, election official gets in touch with them, but that's the best we can do.
I had one of those last week, and he got right back in touch and had his information like right away on time number 1. So it's worth it to not check that box and try again.
Awesome. Yeah, that's great.
Great. And when you say he got right back in touch, did you give him a number, or you mean someone followed up and he responded?
I followed up with him. I gave him a call, and he picked up.
You gave him a call. Okay.
Yep. And he had the information right there. So, and I was like, hey, I'm the guy you talked to earlier today, and he was very friendly. And, it's like, oh yeah, I talked to, his dad or something and got it. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
Awesome.
Great.
That makes me very
A
happy.
lot of college students in PA, you know, almost none of them have driver's license. So you're gonna be asking for the social, and I'd say three-quarters of them know it off the top of their heads, but like particularly like 18, 19, 20-year-olds have never had to use it before. So they're, you know, you might have to have them text or call, you know, someone. So
My son would call me. I get it for sure.
Yeah. That's good. I like hearing that success story. It definitely helps that you call them the same day. You know, the closer you can do it to the actual voter drive, the higher your chances.
Yep.
Awesome. Down below this, maybe the most important field, political party, and the most nerve-wracking one. So how we deal with this is we're not allowed legally to coerce anybody, you know, nor would we want to. We can't say, come on, just be a Democrat. What's wrong with you? You know, we, you know, are allowed to tell them facts though. So I go right into facts immediately. I don't even pause. I say, okay, so political party, and they'll if they're a strong Democrat, they'll interrupt me and it'll be a good moment. You know, it'll be fine. But I say, so political party, the Democrats, you know, are the one major party who are fighting Trump and the Republicans. Just start that basic. A lot of people don't even know that, and it helps them to hear that. We're not just registering voters, we're micro educators, and we're giving people that just little layer of knowledge that can help a huge amount. So Democrats, the one major party fighting Trump and the Republicans. You know, President Barack Obama was the head of the Democratic Party. President Trump is head of the Republican Party. And I do say the word president and Barack, give them as much information as possible because they might need it. After that, I go into the facts about the Democratic Party platform, and just in broad strokes, I let them know that, you know, the Democrats are the one major party who are fighting for women's rights and civil rights and voting rights. You know, let them know that the Democrats are the one major party fighting to expand healthcare instead of take it away. And Democratic Party is the one major party fighting to make college more affordable instead of raising interest rates on student loans. And, you know, and you can go on. There's right now at this moment in history, the Republicans kind of have the bad idea market cornered. So whatever issue you want to talk about, great. And try to read the room, figure out what's important to them, or ask them what's important to them. Although a lot of these people we're talking to, no judgment, but they have no, they're not low information voters, they're no information voters, a lot of them. You know, I kind of feel like politics, to a lot of people who haven't grown up with it in their family, it's like a big noisy room where everyone's yelling at each other. And if you go in that room and you don't know which side you're on, both sides are going to be yelling at you. So you just don't go in that room if you can help it, you know? So we're there to let people know you can have a positive interaction about politics without any yelling, you know? And let them know all these things that are really helpful, you know? So we give them some facts about the Democratic Party platform. If sometimes during that litany of non-insane ideas, people are like, oh yeah, Democrat, sounds good. Hey, terrific. If they say, yeah, no party, I don't want to be any party. Okay, that's fine. But I should tell you that, you know, unless you're registered as a Democrat, you won't be able to vote for, you know, which Democrat is going to go up against Trump. You know, so I haven't even mentioned the word primary because that could lose them just mentioning that. It's okay if, you know, there's nothing magical about, you know, if you want to mention the word primary, that's fine, but I would explain it also and let them know that's, you know, you'd be able to vote for which Democrat's going to go up against Trump, whether it's Joe Biden or Bernie Sanders or Elizabeth Warren or any of the others. And there are a lot of people who are like, okay, yeah, I want to, okay, put me down as a Democrat. If they still say, nah, okay, I don't care, that's fine, no party. All right, you know, we've given them a little bit of an edge, a little bit of education, you know, and we'll register them as other, and we'll keep on going. Hope they make the right decision. You know, we've also screened them with what we're wearing and what we're saying, so like it's okay. If at any point they say Democrat, hey, terrific, you know, give them some positive reinforcement. Thank you. We need more of us. You know, we can win here in Pennsylvania. Sorry. And if at this point, despite our best attempts to ID them, they say Republican, then you know we don't start sobbing in front of them and fall on the ground. You know, we just do that internally, like we've learned to do the last 3 years. And no, we stay positive, and we do give them the form though. So okay, there you go, Republican, and just sign this and you know, and date it and mail it in, and you're good. And so we give them the form for sure. Let them have it and deal with it. Also, if they say libertarians and Republicans tend to vote the same in the end. If they say, but yeah, if they say Democrat or other, that's fine, or even green, you know, that's fine. They share our values. We'll keep on going. Then basically you just need their signature and you know, print their name and put the date, and you're good. I'll go over the rest, but that's really what we can jump to. 9, you can skip. It's just kind of nice, but if they do require help to vote, they need some kind of assistance, you can put that in there. You know, require language help if they have a different language, and you know, they'd like their materials in a different language, you can put that in there. You'll usually skip that. Number 10, it's good to, it's not strictly necessary, but if they have, you know, registered previously, it's good to get whatever information you can from them. Name on previous registration will probably be the same. Whatever they can remember of their old address. If they can't remember the exact address, that's fine. Whatever they can remember, that's fine. Pennsylvania voter number, no, don't worry about that, or year. Don't worry about those. And then most importantly, need your signature. And if you could print your name below that and put the date, that would be great. And you can, you know, the most important thing is that they sign it. You know, if they just sign it and hand it back to you and run away, that's fine. We can print their name and put the date, that's fine. But ideally, have them do all 3. And then at the bottom, we do need to fill this out, our name and address and phone number and signature. Don't have to do it while in the field. You know, I would recommend like maximizing our time in the field so we can just talk to as many people as possible, and wait till the voter drive is over and you're back at base camp, and then you can fill out, you know, fill that out in any forms you need to. And then you're good. You can ask them if you like, you know, if they're not in a total hurry, if they'd like to be a poll worker on election day, or if they'd like to be an interpreter. I never do. People are always in a hurry, and so I just get their form finished as long as they've signed it. Terrific. After they sign it, there's 3 things left to do. Give them a sticker for saving the world. You get a sticker if these are available at your voter drive. Give them a sticker. Even hardened killers love getting a sticker. We're hardwired from first grade. And if it says something like, I registered to vote today, it just keeps the conversation going. Someone's going to ask them about that later. And that's one more person that we're going to be touching, you know? Yeah, give them a sticker, sign them up with that form at the back of the clipboard that I mentioned. You know, if you just registered them, you can ask, hey, could I use your information and just sign you up for 1 email a week with voter drives like this, where you can make a real difference. You know, if you have 2 hours between now and November 3rd, 2020, you know, they say yes, terrific. They can always unsubscribe. We won't be mad, but it's a great way to build out the organization. And then 3rd, if they're still standing there, make sure they know, you know, before they leave. April 28th is the date of the primary. Most important election of our lives is coming up, and we got to get Trump out. So please, gotta vote. Bring 3 friends if you can, you know. And now you know how to register Democrats in Pennsylvania.
Woohoo!
Yeah. You hand those
Excellent.
forms in to your voter drive leader, when you go back to base camp. Or if you're leading the voter drive, make sure to take a picture of each form and, and mail those pictures of the completed forms to ft6forms@gmail.com. I'm going to put this protocol.
Wait, can you say that last thing again? After we go back to base camp, what?
You hand your voter
I'm sorry.
forms into whoever's leading the drive, and
Okay.
they will do this if there is someone, and you won't have to worry about it. Or
Okay.
if you're leading the drive, then make sure to take a picture of each completed voter form and send them. And I dropped this in the chat, but I don't think you can see the chat. Email those pictures to ft6 field team 6 ft6forms@gmail.com if you can. And there is also a 1-minute questionnaire to fill out, and it really does take 1 minute, super fast, but it gives us like how many people, how many volunteers you had, how many hotspots you went to, stuff like that. That just helps us with our data picture. And that's just if you've led the voter drive yourself. And Lori actually put a great question in here. She wrote, why would we register them as other rather than none? She's right. She's right. Going back to political party, I should have said none. Thank you for catching that. Good eye. Good eye. On some of the state forms, other is what you check. Not here. Not here. You're right. Thank you. I was sloppy. So yes, you check. If they say no party, then you check none. No affiliation.
Okay.
That is correct.
Oh, that's good. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Lori.
Jason, I have to run. If anyone has, so are folks here going to the Philly meeting?
Yes.
Okay, great. So if you have any questions for me, you can feel free to email me.
Okay.
Let me put it in the chat here. I think I mentioned it earlier, but it's just bluerevolution2020@gmail.com. And I'm happy to help. So
That's great. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you
no
so
problem.
much.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
thank you for everything you're doing.
Okay, feel better.
Yeah, thank you very much. I'm sure I will by the time I get there. I got to take my vitamin C. So
Yeah, please do.
I will. All right. See you guys.
Okay.
All right. Yeah, feel better,
Bye.
man. Yep, be back. I'm going to put my contact information in the chat also, in case anyone needs it. And
I wonder why I didn't get the chat. That's my only concern now. I think you gave a lot of great information. I don't know why I'm not a part of the chat, but I think I wrote everything down.
I can actually email it to you.
You could? That would be great.
Yeah, just to make sure you have it. Absolutely.
Okay. And you have my email stuff there in front of you, or?
Let's see. Actually, what do you want to give it to me right now? And I'm
Sure. It's Darcy, DARCYW, Dunn, DUNN, @verizon.net.
Got it. Excellent. Here we go. Darcy W. Dunn at verizon.net. Got it. All right. Very good.
Excellent.
Cool. Yeah.
All right, well.
So now you know everything that I know.
Thank you. That was really great. Thank you for all of that and for everything you're doing.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I love it. And it wouldn't be possible without heroes like you who are stepping up to do this and travel to do it. And it's wonderful. That really is. That's what makes it all possible.
Great. Well, hopefully this will be the first of many and with great success.
Yay. Good. Yes. I
Yay.
hope so. And if you have any questions about anything, I'm here for you.
Thanks, Jason.
Email or text or call. And, yeah, I'll be available to talk about hotspots that you are all going to in November, and yeah, I think it's a good time.
Oh, wonderful! Thank you so much.
Awesome, thank you, and happy Halloween. Oh, and Lori.
Okay, happy Halloween to you too.
Lori says, please tell Darcy I also got all the info and can share with her. Nice, thank you.
Okay, Lori. Good. I'll look forward to it. Thanks, Lori, and I'll see you soon. And bye, Jason. Thank you for everything.
Absolutely. All right. Bye.
Okay. Bye.
All right. And any other questions, Lori?